Ayubowan. Welcome to Dhammahadaya, your Monday's favorite. Dhammahadaya is a gift brought to you by the Pioneer Buddhist TV of Sri Lanka. Now, as you all know that through Dhammahadaya we just carry out a very important discussion which is extremely important to your life, and today it's going to be a special day because it's going to be a special program. We have a very special resource person, and she is here with us for the first time. So let me introduce her to you. She is Dr. Shiroma Bandara from UK. She's a Sri Lankan from UK, and she used to be a dentist who retired early and now dedicate her life or dedicate her time for Dhamma practice. So this is the introduction actually she wanted me to tell you. So ma'am, welcome to the Buddhist TV.
Hello.
Let me start with this. Now, you retired early. Being a dentist, you retired early. But why? I mean, like, usually what happens is, like in our society, people, you know, they just, of course, they just go to, there are good Buddhists and they go to temple, they observe still, some of them. But most of them, I mean, they, you know, while they're young, they just do their jobs and they earn their money. And, you know, but why this early retirement?
Yes, actually I thought, as you said, from childhood I had been in Dhamma and practicing. And at the later stage, my career was very successful. And I thought it wasn't enough. The time I was spending for Dhamma isn't enough. And my responsibilities and my thought waves and all the planning, all of them was about the work and organizing work, and I slowly started to cut down, and as I was cutting down work, going part-time, I realized the benefits and that I was happier cutting down work gradually. So later on I decided the final decision to stop work, let somebody else carry on, and total freedom for me. I am now totally dedicating my time to Dhamma work.
Okay, so totally dedicating your time to Dhamma work, and I have heard that you are a meditation teacher. So how has meditation affected your life?
Profoundly, I must say, and there's nothing else that has affected my life that much, and obviously to the better. If I can tell you, like now some childhood memories come to me. Very first time I heard of meditation was when I was about 5 years old. My father was sitting reading his newspaper, and I remember playing at his feet, waiting for him to stop reading the newspaper and come and play with me. And then he put the newspaper away and he closed his eyes and he was like this, doing nothing. And I looked at him and I asked, "What are you doing, Tata?" And he said, I'm bhavana karana. I'm meditating. And then I asked him, "What is bhavana?" And then he said, now I was 5 years old. And that was a big question for him to answer. But very astutely, very cleverly, I thought, he told me, "Close your eyes." And I closed my eyes. Then he said, "What do you see?" Then I said, "I saw some seeds, like atta, seeds.
Okay.
Then he said, "That's it. Keep on doing that. That is bhavana. That is meditating." And then I kept closing and I went atta, even feeling that calmness at that age. That was my first experience of meditation. And later on, a couple of years later, there was a power cut as usual. We used to, the lights go and it's total darkness. I must have been about 7 years old. And everybody rushing around to get the candles. And then my father, I was sitting somewhere quietly, he came to me and asked, were you afraid of the dark? And then I said, no. And he said, what? Why? I said, no, I closed my eyes and I went at her.
Okay.
And that was it. I didn't have any fear.
Okay.
So that day he said to me, I will teach you another one. And he
Alright.
said, he taught me the metta meditation, the loving kindness meditation that I loved from that age itself. Just 2 words, may I be happy, may all beings be happy. May I be happy, may all beings be happy. That was it. May everyone be happy. So later on, actually, whenever I was doing it from that day onwards, I used to feel such inner happiness, such calmness, security, some warmth inside as a child. Whenever my mind was fluctuating, I had fear, some sadness, I used to go and do that. And suddenly it became a tool to me. And I have had quite a lot of illnesses in my childhood. I had physical disability at 2 years old. So I had to cope with all the traumas in my childhood, and whenever I felt sad and whenever I felt fear and scared, I used to go and say, may I be happy, may all beings be happy, may I be happy, I am happy, may all beings are happy. And suddenly that fear shifted away and this beautiful feeling came. And then I actually used that as a tool to keep on using that whenever I had fear, whenever I had a sad feeling, whenever I was anxious or restless, I used to just say that, chant that to me. And this was some of the first experiences of meditation, which actually grew and grew later on, at later years. Instead of reaching out for other people to protect me, I had this little secret which gave me.
You found comfort within that, within meditation.
Yes.
I think being in a Buddhist background, also being brought up in a very Buddhist school, Visakha Vidyalaya, I think that's so. The background catered you towards meditation.
Very much, yes. Even when we were growing up, I used to have many discussions with my father about meditation, and my brother joined in, my mother joined in, and sister meditates as well. So we used to have family discussions about meditations, different views, different ideas. We don't agree every time, but it was fun.
Yeah. Now, ma'am, like you have been living in UK for the past 30 years, you said. How is Buddhist practice in UK?
Well, generally, the overall picture, we have 2 great temples, main temples. We have many temples, but there is the London Buddhist Vihara and the Thames Buddhist Vihara. And there are venerable monks who teach Dhamma. But there was something lacking there. We thought there was this practical Dhamma practice, Dhamma in practice wasn't there. We used to come there, listen to Dhamma talks, profound Dhamma talks, and observe seal and do all the pujas and go, and that was it. So fortunately for me, young doctor walked into the temple, Dr. Matisha Gunathilaka, who was a meditator and had knew how to teach meditation. So he was our meditation teacher, and there onwards we formed these meditation groups and classes, and there are 3 now. And we also created this e-group where we have Dhamma discussions through the email and questions and answers. We share Dhamma articles and experiences, and one we conduct in English, one in Sinhala, and the 3rd group is for the young people, young adults who are at work from about age of 25 to 45. And they all carry their children and come, and they put the children to sleep and meditate and have Dhamma discussions. So we have thriving 3 groups going forward.
Okay, I think that's great. That's wonderful. Now, ma'am, like having said all that, now when you came to this discussion, like I asked you, what sort of theme shall we discuss today? Because through Dhammahadaya, we just take a theme. And she told me, let's take Dhamma in practice. How important do you think is Dhamma in practice to anyone?
It is of utmost importance. Actually, I can say it is the only important thing in Dhamma. What Buddha would have wanted all of us to do, to even 2,600 years later, is to practice the Dhamma. Not listen to the Dhamma, just practice, start practicing it daily basis.
So if I ask you a question like this now, how would you introduce Buddha's teachings, say to a non-Buddhist? And I think among our Buddhists also, among most of us who are born as Buddhists, but there are some of us who really do not know Buddhism or the core of Buddhism. To such a person, how would you introduce the Buddha's teaching?
Well, I would introduce it the way I have seen Buddhism, Buddha's teachings. I saw these teachings as Buddha himself says, is there are two factors that Buddha teaches us about: suffering and the cessation of suffering. So suffering is such a it's common to all of us, and there is no doubt, no question about it. And everywhere, every day, we are running around seeking cessation of suffering. But the way we run around looking for cessation of suffering is actually to deviate the suffering and find another pleasurable thing to cover that. So we are running around trying to please the eye, the ear, the nose, the tongue, the mind, the whole body, pleasing and giving it pleasure, and just push that suffering away. Then I saw this teaching, that absolutely marvelous, beautiful teaching, that you just face the suffering, don't run away from the suffering, face the suffering and go through it, cut through it. And then you understand what suffering is, and you start seeing through the suffering. And suddenly you see the cause of it, and then you see just getting attached to that cause causes this suffering, letting it go, and then you're in peace, just that moment. So basically, in a nutshell, this is what Buddha's teaching is. But of course, it's very difficult for somebody who is lost actually in this pleasurable world of indulgence to stop and think, yes, what is this suffering all about? What do I want? What is my mind asking for now? So here, hence, there is the path leading to cessation of suffering. So I would tell a beginner or a foreigner or someone new to Buddhism that part, yes, we both agree there is suffering. How we look at suffering is different. So why don't we look at it this way? And here Buddha taught suffering is there, a cause of suffering is there. To let go of the suffering, you need to go through this path. He gave us the path for cessation of suffering and said, here is Nibbana, here is peace, here is ultimate happiness. So then I would introduce him to the path, which is essential thing. Here again I find even the young generation I've talked to, very recently these exams have finished, and I asked my young nephew the other day, he had done his Buddhism very well, and I asked him what is Samadhi, and he said, not knowing the Four Noble Truths, 15 years old, and I said, how would you relate that to your life? How would you see that as, have you got right view or not? Then he was a bit perplexed. He didn't know how to answer that, and that I think that is a huge gap there in the education of Buddhism in our country to the youngsters, because it is so like parrot fashion, and then you pass your exams. But a little fact like right view, Samadhi, the first one in the Eightfold Path, which is the path to cessation of suffering. To a foreigner, I would say, no, first knowing what is right and wrong, distinguish between the right and the wrong. And right, if you do right things, you get happiness. If you do the wrong thing, you get unhappiness. And that causes the energy, the karma. Good karma is created, bad karma is created. And where you're happy, it is a kusala karma, and when you're unhappy and your mind is agitated, it creates the akusala karma. And this good feeling, the good thought, word and deed has the roots of no greed, no delusion, no anger. Whereas the wrongdoings or the doings that gives you unhappiness would have the greed, delusion and the anger as roots here. So they will know there is this, because of greed, delusion and anger, I do the wrong thing, create the bad karma. And then why shouldn't we do good karma? Why shouldn't we do bad karma? One can ask.
Yeah.
I can go and kill
I
someone.
was about to ask.
Yes.
Because, you know, we have all sorts of viewers. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's a
Yeah,
really good
another,
question
like
that one
some
might
other
ask.
person in religion say, what is wrong in killing an animal and eating? So then here we talk about the resultant, karma vipaka. If you do the good karma, the good vipaka comes, the good resultant, and the bad karma will bring bad vipaka results. And here and now, as well as in the future births, so you introduce rebirth to it. And then we go on this cycle of being born and dying and being born and dying, doing good karma, bad karma, and we get lost in the samsara in 32 realms. We just go on there. So how do we stop this? How do we stop that? How do we get ultimate happiness without fluctuating from happiness to unhappiness, unhappiness to happiness, to go to ultimate happiness, ultimate peace, a bit more stability, stable mind, is through this Eightfold Path. And Sammaditthi is realizing that here is the way it works, this is the way it works. And then dukkha, suffering is there is a cause of it, let go of the cause and there is peace. Here and now, this moment. It's nothing that you have to practice and get. Right now, agitation comes. Right now, look. Why? Because I want that and not this. Attached to that. Do I really need that? Can I let go of that? Yes, I can let go of that. I let go. Peace. Working here and now, the Four Noble Truths. So here is Samadhi, and here is how, knowing the Four Noble Truths, you become to this laukika, from mithya ditti to Samadhi, mundane Samadhi. And then you go down, your thoughts change, your way of thinking changes. So you're more, you have empathy. Everybody else suffers just like us, just like you. So there's empathy. So there's avihimsa, the harmlessness, and there's huge metta, avyapada. And then again you think this is changing so much. Just let go. Let go of your wanting, have that peace here and now, right now. And that nekkhamma, nekkhamma attitude, letting go attitude, so that is the right thought. Then your word changes, your right word, right way, livelihood, right way of thinking, and right effort to keep this going, this understanding alive. And then you come to the most important, one of the most important steps is the right mindfulness, right effort to keep the right mindfulness. And sati, that is just being in this present moment, just so beautiful. And that will give you calmness and equanimity and one-pointed in your mind. The mind doesn't fluctuate, run around, disperse so much. So it leads to Samma Samadhi. So Samma Vayama, right effort, leads to right mindfulness, again leads to right concentration. They work enhancing each other. So I think right mindfulness is something that one should actually practice a lot in this Dhamma practice.
All right. Now, ma'am, I think it's really, really important that you explained all that, because I thought now saying all this to a non-Buddhist, or perhaps a person who is a born Buddhist but who really doesn't know the meaning of it, they might ask, what's in it for me? I mean, that's what people ask. So I think you gave the perfect explanation. It's that inner peace, it's that bliss, and it's that ultimate goal, I think, Nibbana.
Absolutely.
Which is the bliss. Now, if I ask you something like this, ma'am, now, what sort of daily routine, now suppose now our viewers are interested in following this path.
Yeah.
Now, what sort of daily routine do you suggest for a person who is interested?
Yeah, that's a good question, because that is where the practical Dhamma comes. The biggest excuse or reason, if I may say compassionately, for not doing daily practice is work. You say you have so much work to do, duty. And so we have to think of a way to do this, if it is to work, a practice that we can do while we are doing the work and doing duty and still carry on doing it, because no one would like to cut down on their work because it's so important for everyone. So how I actually, when I was a busy dentist running a practice and with so much staff working under me, and I still couldn't get away, couldn't stop meditation, it was so much a part of me. How I used to do that was, as soon as I got up early in the morning, is to sit on my bed and start doing some meditations. And I loved Anapanasati meditation leading to Samadhi states. I would do that, and Metta meditation, which was like in me by then, like in my bones and blood and whole thing.
From childhood?
From childhood. So I would just sit and do that, think of the whole universe. From here to the environment right around me, to the neighborhood, to the town, everyone, all seen and unseen beings, in the country, to the world, to the universe, and all the 32 realms. They're suffering.
True.
All the 32 realms there is suffering. So to all those seen, unseen beings, metta. I would really recommend everyone to do this meditation, because it's such a powerful meditation, metta meditation. And not only it heals you mind and body, it strengthens you mind and body, and it takes all your negative vibrations out of your system. And so also when you go out there, there is, as if there is everyone in one frequency, there is no enmity, and it's a beautiful way to live in society. Everyone you meet is like your brother, your sister. It's because you have already sent metta to them million times. So you connect with people heart to heart. And you don't have fear that someone will rob you, someone will kill you, someone will harm you. That fear doesn't come to you at all, strangely. You're not scared of living alone or walking down an alley. I know it's not wise, but the fear isn't there. So that's beautiful to do that early in the morning. And then the most
I think that's great, because it's more than the actual thing, it's the fear that kills.
Exactly. And we react in such a way we get the situation into a worse mess, isn't it? So just like that, the snake coming to a cot, we've heard the story, will go without harming the baby, because the baby has no the perception of fear for the snake, and it maybe doesn't project that in the body and mind. And the snake, the story goes that way, so there must be some in it. The next step is to carry this on through the day. This is not enough. Believe me, it's not enough, because by the time you come back to sit there, so much of defilements have gone through, ups and downs and suffering passed through your mind. So to catch that as well, we have to carry this through the day. Right? And that is where mindfulness comes. Satya and Sati Sampajanya. Satya, keeping your mind in the present moment, here and now. All the time, here and now. And then introduce wisdom to it and see how things are changing. You experience everything changing. There is no room, no time to get attached or reject. It's changed. So you just go, and it's like watching a stream flow with all kinds of rubbish and good things and gold leaves and dry leaves, and you're watching because there's no time to grab it. So you actually slow down this process, very fast moving process, slow it down so much, and you see it rising, passing, and you get detached, step back, and there is huge happiness there.
Yeah.
So end of the day, again, you can do some sitting meditation and do some vipassana, and about anicca or whatever vipassana meditations that you're familiar with, or practice your samadhi, anapanasati, through the breath meditation to go to samadhi. And if somebody asks me, how can you do this through the day with all the work, and that is where all the present moment meditations come, the Sattara Satipatthana comes. In fact, the whole of the Satipatthana can be practiced moment to moment. It's moment to moment mindfulness.
While you're practicing your daily routine,
yes.
You can do it.
If I give you an example, I would, when I get up, my eyes open, and then I feel the coolness of the pillow on my cheek, and there's hardness of the cheek, and my whole body on the bed, and there's the touch sensation, cool sensation there, and the soft sensation, and you're just with it, with the hardness, softness, cool, warmth, and airy quality there. Then an intention comes, I want to get out of bed, the leg comes out the bed, and then you're walking, and the sole of the foot touches the carpet, there's hardness. This is going with the 4 elements, just being aware of the 4 elements. And hardness, then you'll open the door, the hardness of the hand touching the hardness of the door. You go, you wash your face, and it's the water touching the face. And there's water quality, the apo quality touching the patavi. And you brush the teeth, and that's an action. So this is going along with the 4 elements, which is very beautiful.
And actually, while you were just saying all that, ma'am, a thought, came across my mind. We have missed all that. Have we ever done it mindfully? I think all the time, whenever we are brushing our teeth or washing our face, we have been dreaming of the past, or we have been in the future, and we haven't really enjoyed the coolness of water, as you said.
Yes, and see what happens when you're like that. This is one meditation I've taken, the Dhatu Manasikara, which is one of my favorite meditations.
Right.
Your mind doesn't fluctuate to the past, so you're thinking, worrying, that one said this one said this, that happened to me, how unfortunate I am, and all this. And then your mind doesn't fluctuate to the future, thinking, I have to do this, I'm anxious about this, I'm worried about this, planning, and it's here and now. And here you're walking, hardness, coolness, wateriness, hardness, again, airy quality. The mind gets very light and empty, and there is no suffering there. And then there is no karma vipaka coming, you're not creating new karma, and there is no defilements coming, there is no tanha or anger, dvesha, or any delusions coming, because you're in the ultimate reality, or with the paramattha dhamma reality, just being with the 4 elements. It's beautiful, and it's empty and calm inside all the time, no suffering.
Lovely. I think lovely. I think that is something we can all practice. Like while we're at home, while we're at work, getting ready, doing stuff for our children, whatever. So with that as well, ma'am, now there might be viewers who would really like to, sit and practice some meditation. I would invite you to teach some simple meditation or whatever you think is appropriate for our viewers.
Because we were talking about the 4 elements, let's do a very simple, beautiful Dhatu Manasikara meditation, okay? It won't take more than 5-10 minutes. Maybe all of you can join us.
Please do.
Can. Okay, let's sit comfortably. Just let all the muscles relax. Just become aware of all your shoulder muscles. Just relax, let it drop down. And your legs and the whole body completely relaxed. And your mind is here and now. The past is finished and it's non-existent. The future hasn't arrived yet. And we have here and now just changing, arising, passing, arising, passing. The mind is getting calm and empty. And here and now, there's nothing to think about, nothing to do, nowhere to go. Here and now, just being, just be. Now let's get our awareness to the body. Awareness in the body. And you feel the heaviness. It's like a lump. There's hardness, solidity, and this heaviness weighing down on the cushion. This is the patavi, and the cushion is solid, same hardness as the body. And if you project your perception right through the cushion to the carpet, and it's the same hardness of the body as in the carpet and the ground, right through to the earth and core of the earth. Same hardness as in the body. The hardness spreading to the stones, the mountains, trees and rocks out there, which can break, deteriorate, decay and turn to dust. Same as this body, the hardness can break, deteriorate, decay and one day turn to dust. The hardness or patavi dhatu of this body is exactly same as the patavi in the environment. So this hardness of this body is not mine, it's not me. How can we say it belongs to an I? It's a part of the environment. Bring the awareness to the body again. And what else happens? There's movement of the stomach, movement of the chest. And that's because of the air equality, vayu. Just be with that vayu pushing the hardness of the stomach. Vayu and patavi. This air enters the body through the nostrils when breathing and leaves the body through the exhale and through the skin. For that short moment the air is in the body. How can we call it mine or I? This air is the same air in the environment, the wind, in space. In the body, we feel the moist, the sweat, the tears and saliva, the apo, watery quality. It's exactly the same as the rain, moist in the wind, the lakes and the rivers and the sea. This water enters the body when we drink water from the environment and leaves the body through sweating, urine and feces. For that short moment, the water enters and leaves. How can we call it I, me and mine? The water in the body, apo, is exactly the same as the water in the environment. And then there is the temperature change, coolness of the environment and the coolness of the body, and the warmth of the body as the warmth of the environment change. This tejo quality is exactly the same as in the environment. So how can we call it me, mine, and belongs to me? So these four qualities, the hardness, airy quality, wateriness, and the temperature change in a shape because of our karma is this body, which is ever changing, will break, deteriorate, and one day turn to dust. This body is impermanent, dukkha, and no self. This body is anicca, dukkha, anatta. Anicca, dukkha, anatta. I think that is a Dhatu Manasikara meditation. Very easily
Lovely.
one can do,
Yeah,
and
okay.
calms you, and there is no suffering there, and you get inner peace, ultimate bliss, ultimate happiness, all within. So you don't have to reach out
Sure.
and go out there to achieve and get more for happiness.
Definitely. Now, ma'am, through this meditation or sometimes listening to our discussion, a person or perhaps a non-Buddhist, might say, or maybe just imagine someone didn't watch this program from the beginning but just switched on the television and just watching us now, might say, because this is a personal experience of mine as well. When I just try to explain of this suffering, to someone, then that person said, life has its ups and downs. Why are you concentrating on pessimism? Because, there are some people out there who just accuse Buddhism as pessimism, who talking about suffering. What sort of advice can you give?
Yes,
To anyone
I
who-
think unfortunately these questions arise in someone's mind because they look at life as the sensual pleasure is going to give them lasting happiness. And if you deny yourself these sensual pleasures, it's pessimistic. So this kind of view gives rise to this question.
Yeah.
Whereas if someone experiences the inner bliss that comes in meditation, because Buddha's advice is to come and see and come and experience it.
Sure.
And then you experience with Sila. Sila, Samadhi, Prajna is the three steps. So Sila is as important. And then Samadhi, where our mind goes to one-pointed concentration. Sila itself gives so much of happiness, protects us from a lot of evil and worry and fear, gives that much of happiness. Then Samadhi gives a lot more deeper. And Vipassana leads to the ultimate happiness. And when you compare the two types of happinesses, you will know that this is, the inner happiness is so profound and so much better than the sensual pleasures. And also the sensual pleasures come from outside, and they will change and give you huge sufferings when it goes. That happiness ends in suffering. Whereas this inner happiness, you can get it.
It's long lasting.
Yeah, it's much more long lasting. That is not permanent either, but that is also anicca. But before we come to that, we experience that as we can derive it whenever we want it, we can keep it whenever we want it, and it's there.
It's just an early indication of Nibbana?
Absolutely.
Just an indication?
Yes.
Like,
it is like a little taste of it.
Little taste of it?
From Sila itself, it's beautiful how Buddha says, come and see knowing. As soon as you put your foot there, you'll experience it and you won't look back. And he says very confidently, come and see. Then someone goes to Sila, gets this experience, and then think, oh, yeah, I'm happier than before. And goes to do a bit of, where he says meditate, so we meditate, and then derives a huge amount of happiness, and that is where Shraddha develops, Achala Shraddha, because through experience, because of a cause, there is huge bliss and priti sukha of jhanas are absolutely huge inner happiness. And then even that can be impermanent, so we go to Vipassana, the Prajna, where total letting go happens. Every time you let go, there is freedom and happiness, and that you cannot compare with the outside. So there is no pessimism there. It's a better happiness, you can say.
It's definitely a better happiness. In other words, you may call it, like you will never really know unless you try it for yourself, because Buddhism is a very much practical religion. So just try it yourself, and if you do not try it yourself, I think you're missing a lot.
Yes.
You're missing a lot in life. So just try it yourself. And ma'am, I would like to just ask you another question, something like this. Now, most of our Buddhists, I think they, most of them, not all of them, they take a very keen interest in Amisa Puja, like rituals, offering flowers. So whenever, suppose a foreigner comes to our country, maybe someone who doesn't know about Buddhism might get a picture like Buddhism is all about, Parahitas, offering flowers, offering pujas and all that. So, I mean, I know they're important, but what do you say?
Yes, they are important because they give you some Shraddha and like an introduction to the Dhamma, and offering flowers itself can be a meditation, as well as when you do that it gives a beautiful feeling. So it is of utmost importance, it is the beginning and you can do that, but eventually you have to go from, as I said, good to the better. So you shouldn't get there.
Okay.
So from Sila, you need to, Sila and the pujas and Shraddha, you need to go to the practice, Pratipatti, and then Samadhi, and then you have to develop the Prajna. Because I have to like to say this, that we have got Kalyana Mittas in this lifetime, we have Saddhamma, that is teachers showing us the way, and we have all the requisites to go through this prajna. We didn't talk about it much, but to attain the Maggaphala and go that way in this birth itself, it can be done. And finding a good Kalyana Mitta or a Dhamma teacher, just looking what reality is, just separating out this illusion of materiality and mentality, do meditations to separate that out and see the cause of what is happening, the process of what is happening. Am I looking? Is there a person looking, person feeling, person hearing, or is this a process happening because of a series of causes and effects? So there is huge lot of vipassana meditations you can do, and then ultimately reach a state of nibbana, the first state of enlightenment, this birth itself. And practical meditation is very important for that.
Okay, so lovely. And ma'am, I think this new year has just begun, 2013. I would like you to give a New Year resolution for our viewers.
Okay, I'd love to do that. In fact, I will share my New Year resolution with you all. In fact, we all did this in our groups in London last 1st of January as well. This is this New Year resolution is based on Buddha's, one of Buddha's sutras in the Tipitaka. I think it comes in Samyutta Nikaya Bhadraka Sutra. It's called Auspicious Sutra. It's auspicious, like we say, an auspicious day. And how Buddha looks at an auspicious moment is like this. It's a meditation where you concentrate on your seeing as just seeing, and hearing as just hearing, feeling as just feeling, tasting as just the tasting, and the smelling as just a smelling. And if you can every moment be in mindfulness, in that wherever you are, things are changing, things are passing. It's very profound way of staying. I will actually end with a little tiny meditation my teacher introduced to us. It's the Vipassana meditation, and we just call it mind movement meditation, which you can do. It's one of my favorite meditations, and you can do that while sitting in a queue on the bus or waiting room. It goes as just open your eyes and just go seeing as the object falls on your eye, just say seeing. Then if a sound comes, hearing. Then the wind touches your hands, feeling the cool wind, the hardness of the floor, feeling. A sound comes, hearing, again sight, seeing, and then a thought passed, thinking, and going round and round the 5 senses, just noticing what exactly happens at that moment. And it again takes your mind to upekkha and equanimity, and if you can live the whole day like this, I'm sure that would be a beautiful mind state that you can live from morning till night.
Wow, I think that's great. That's lovely. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, viewers. I think I would like to thank Dr. Shiroma Bandara for dedicating her precious time on behalf of us. So I think we are really, really fortunate to have her here. And she's just about to leave the country and fly back to UK. And ma'am, as I usually tell all these resource people who come here, you know, for no fee, of course, just for the pure sake of disseminating Dhamma. I think you have achieved a lot of kusala kamma just by taking part in this program and sharing your knowledge with our viewers. Anything you would like to say finally?
I'm actually very humbled, and it makes me hugely happy to address all of you, this opportunity to share my experiences. And I do hope in the new year I can talk to you more and become a friend of all of you.
Well, thank you so much. And viewers, if you have any comments, please write to us. You know our address. The producer, Dhammahadaya, the Buddhist TV, Sri Sambodhi Viharaya, Gregory's Road, Colombo 7. And have a wonderful week. Let us meet the next Monday as well. Until that, take very good care. May the most noble Triple Gem bless you.